Okay. Um, my name is Sammy, and prepared uh some slides to explain design thinking and how we can use it for effective content creation. So I'm gonna start with this question. That why do some designs work and why not some of them work? Does anyone have any clue? Can you guys point to some factors that could make a design work better or be more successful? If not, I can quickly jump into some examples. I chose some visual examples. Um, Here I have two versions of the same logo. Um, well, I would love to ask you guys to vote. Which one do you prefer as a logo?
I prefer the left one.
The left one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Me
prefer the
too,
right
I
one.
prefer that one.
Hmm. I wish there was a way so we could vote. How about utilizing the chat? So, right. Uh, so in the chat, everyone's agreeing with right. Okay. So yeah, we're talking about preference. So as we all know, mm, design can be subjective, but to structure it, we need to basically consider the majority as well. So here, although some people agreed that left one might be a better design, but most of you, we can see that like the right one. Um, well, I think it was Mohammed. Would you like to, if you want, you can elaborate. Why do you like the left one better?
Yes, that was me. I think I don't know. I like the font more than the other, and also it has more features. Yeah, that's just kind of preference.
All right. We have a flyer here. What about this one? Right or left?
Me again left.
Left.
I choose the right one.
Mm-hmm. So mostly left. Ali, would you like to elaborate why do you like the right one?
Because the right one we can see the words.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. But in the left one, I couldn't see uh, the, the text.
True.
Yeah.
That is true. So, uh, here we're not pointing into which design is good or not. Yeah, Serkan is it has the best answer here, although it's not a competition. But in both of these examples, there are things that in point of view of design that are not right. But generally speaking, to be more eye-pleasing, we could say left one maybe because of the more clear design, more clean design. Uh, it's easier to um, digest. But as Ali also mentioned, you couldn't read the text so clearly. So can we say it would persuade you to get closer to read it because you can't see it or read it from afar? That can be a technique as well. But I'm gonna explain more after this example. So which one again do you guys prefer? Mm. They're both kind of a poster. This one is more like a poster. Uh, so mostly left. Anastasia, would you like to elaborate why do you like the right one?
No, actually, I messed it up. I also meant the left one,
Yeah,
just because on the right I do not like the variety of fonts.
exactly. That's a good point. On the right one, we can see the variety of fonts, multiple points. Um, Generally in graphic design, the graphic design rules advise not to use more than two fonts. Maximum three, depending on a good reason. But here we can see one, two, three, four, five, six, almost six fonts with different sizes, but not really a good hierarchy here. On the left one, the message is clear. We can see one single font. Solution, no pollution. It's catchy, it's clear. You can easily understand the message and engage emotionally with it. But it also lacks some stuff that the right one has. For example, the logos. Or in the previous example, we also had the same thing. The left one might be more eye-pleasing, but it's missing the contact information. Uh, the message, although the design is cleaner, the message is not as clear as the right one. So it's always a balance. You have to see in order to give a clear message, how much information do you have to put there? Because the more information you put, the more chaotic or there is also a risk of your design becoming messy. So this is something that generally in design you have to consider. Uh, a good content or good design is not just creative. It should be structured and should be user-centered. We're talking about good content. Generally, when you want to strategize a content creation project, you should be able to answer these three questions. What are your goals? Why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? Who is your target audience? Who's gonna use your content? And what problem is your product or service or your content? What message is it transmitting? Uh, I jumped a few slides. In order to be able to answer those questions, we can utilize design thinking. Design thinking is a thinking process a problem-solving method focusing on three main points: empathy, ideation, and iteration. We'll delve in deeper into them shortly. It encourages you to think about how you create content as part of solving problems. So it's not just about creativity, it's about its use case. It's about if it's able to solve a problem. Design thinking helps you identify different strategies and solutions that might not come to your mind instantly. It has 5 stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. The first stage is empathize, which is understanding the audience. This stage helps you to deeply connect with your audience, to understand them better, to understand their needs, their challenges, their emotions, somehow psychoanalyzing them to be able to tailor content specifically for a defined user or audience. Why we do this? Because in order to be able to connect emotionally with our users, we need to understand them first. People engage with our content if it speaks to their experience, to their emotions, and to their needs, and this only happens if we try to empathize with them. Empathy helps create content that is not just visually appealing, but also meaningful. Here are the steps of this stage to empathize. You try to identify your audience by answering who is your target audience? What do they care about? What motivate them, and etc. To understand their problems, you might need to observe them, you might need to research them, and one of the things designer come up with is to define a persona. A persona is a fictional character or profile representing your target audience by making specific examples. It can be used for marketing, for different ranges of design, writing, and etc. Usually, persona includes demographic information like age or gender or nationality or etc. Their hobbies and interests, their conflicts and problems, their preference, especially in our case, the type of content they would like. Some people are into more like video content. Some type of people, in other words, personas, are into text content. Not everyone who uses Instagram would use YouTube, for example. And the tone and style preferences, you can see this difference in different generations. Next step is to define. After we understood and defined our audience, we will, in this stage, try to clarify a core problem and try to clarify it in order to come up with a solution for it. This stage helps us to get more focused, clear, and make more relevant content. Some of the questions that you need to answer in this stage would be, what is the main problem that our audience are facing? What message should be communicated? Or in other words, what a story you want to tell? And also how this can be useful, how this content, this story might be solving a problem. In the define stage, if we wanna go through steps, we should summarize the idea, the problem that we identified into one sentence. So get as clear and as specific as we can. Again, identify as the to define the audience that we empathize with in the first stage, to get as specific as we can, to understand our niche, to understand how to match our solution with the problem we found, and basically start our way toward next step, which is to ideate. So before ideation, we need to clearly define who are we making our content, what kind of content are we focusing on, and what message is going through this content. The IDA stage is there to help us quickly brainstorm as many solutions as we can to address our audience needs, and to come up with solutions for the problems we found. It encourages creative problem solving instead of settling for the first idea, because not every time there is low probability of coming up with a good idea, with a good sustainable solution the first time. Ideation helps explore different ways to communicate a message effectively, and it avoids predictable and repetitive content, making it fresh and engaging. Steps in the ideate stage would be to generate as many ideas as we can by brainstorming different approaches, to think visually and to concept, to experiment with different content styles, explore colors and layouts, for example, or even different ways of storytelling. In ideate stage, what we should consider also is what we understood in the first stage about our audience, their emotional triggers, and how we can evoke them, how we can raise curiosity, or in order to engage our audience. And at the end, you choose one of the ideas you come up with during your brainstorm and move to the next step. Before that, I would also introduce briefly some of the brainstorming techniques designers use. It's no one can say which one's a better method, but usually mind mapping and Crazy 8 are the fastest method to come up with quick ideas. In mind mapping, you put a topic in the center and start to come up with keywords, relative ideas, and just write and or draw, sketch as many as you can. In Crazy 8, you quickly try to sketch 8 different layout or idea in 8 minutes. Reverse thinking is also an interesting method, which you try to think opposite of solving a problem. You try to think how we can worsen a problem. This way, you might also come up with creative ideas how you can address that problem. So to sum this stage up, it's all about creativity and to explore multiple ideas before deciding on the best one. Generally, the more ideas we have, the better content we can design. Next step would be prototype. And in this stage, you basically draft uh, um, uh, a rough sketch of your idea to be able to visualize it, to be able to analyze it, and to find the flaws, to see if you can improve it better, or it also saves you time by preventing rework. You don't have to re-ideate over and over again. And also, this can be a starting point to iterate, which I will explain again in few minutes. In prototype stage, we go through steps of creating a rough draft, focus on structure and flow to make sure our message is clear. We test different layouts, fonts, colors, depending on the content or the design we create. We try to keep this prototype as simple as possible. We don't want to focus on creation here. We just want to basically come up with a way of visualizing our idea so we can prepare our feedbacks for it and see how we can improve it for implementation. So prototype is all about testing ideas quickly, and it shouldn't be a perfect design, not just not needing to be a perfect design. It shouldn't be a perfect design. It should just be something tangible so we can refine it. The final step would be test. In this step, you try to get some feedbacks from your teammates, your friends, or a sample group, so you can refine your ideas before implementation. Although you shouldn't always try to depend on your test results, because in content creation, social media is a test ground itself. And this is the beauty of design thinking, because it's all about iteration. You do the process over and over again. You after you implement something, after you release a content, for example, you come up with new data to emphasize better with your audience. You might come up with new definitions. You might come up even with new ideas. So this is a constant process. you keep repeating this process for your content, and in this way you can focus on continuously creating content, improving it, and you can get more clear, get more closer to your audience, and design better every day, basically. To sum up, design thinking in content creation structures our creativity. It ensures clarity and impact. It helps structure for meaningful storytelling. It makes content more engaging for the audience. Mostly because of the first step, but also because we repeat it. A great content is not just a story, it's a story designed for impact. So there are infinite stories in this universe, but not all of them are engaging because not all of them are designed. A good design is about audience, not just creativity. And to sum up the stages of design thinking, empathize. Who is this for? Who are our audience? Define what is the key message that we want to send. Ideate what's the best way to show this, what's the best way to address the problem, or what's the best way to tell the story that we want to tell. Prototype, sketch a rough idea, or use Canva, or even a storyboarding before creating a video content. And last stage, test to realize what worked well with our solution, with our creation, what didn't work well, and how we can improve our design. And that's it about design thinking. If you guys have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. We try to utilize these stages in the implementation session so we can get better understanding over design thinking method.
So hi, my name is Vivekananda, but you can call me V. Feel free to stop me at any point. Am I clearly audible and everything's working? Okay, because I had to do a lot of makeshift adjustments and I can't really hear my voice with this earphones. So if I'm speaking too loudly, please stop me. Okay, so let's move ahead and can't change the screen. Yes. Okay, so here's a quote by someone someone who speaks about storytelling that I really found fascinating. And here's Frida Kahlo, who I personally believe is one of the most brilliant artists of all times. And I think when you tell stories, what we are going to be focusing today on is how to tell your own stories. We all come from different experiences. We all grow up under different circumstances. And the world that we share is the same, yet the way that we look at it is very, very different. So as Anis Nin says here, we do not see the things as they are, but we see them as we are. So what we are going to focus today on is By the end of the session, I hope that you arrive at a point where you can start thinking about your own values, your own experiences, and how you can use that to tell powerful stories. Uh, okay, just a brief look on the agenda. There's going to be an introduction, followed by we're going to look at some of the formal elements of storytelling. And then we'll look at the aspect of framing and perspective and how that's important in stories. Then we will travel and look at a few storytelling traditions from across the world, followed by a 30 minutes activity. Does that sound good? And I would really like your engagement through this. I don't want to just speak. Feel free to stop me at any point, and if you have any thoughts, just unmute yourself or raise your hand, whatever is convenient for you. Okay, so without wasting any time, so before we start, I want you to take maybe 2 to 3 minutes and feel free to look at the internet, your phone gallery, uh, any space that you like, but I want you to find one image that you feel represents you. It can be anything. Don't overthink this. Don't think much about it. Don't try to find the best image. Uh, just, just, just something that you feel represents you. Yeah. So just take 2 minutes and find something, and keep it with you. Yeah. We'll come back to that in the end. I hope the prompt is clear for everyone. Yeah. Do you need a few more seconds? I really miss physical spaces where one can.
Found mine. I actually.
Sorry?
I have found mine. I only wanted to say that I have found my photo. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Just to let you know. Yeah.
Even the ones who can't really turn on your cameras, even if you could maybe just use the reaction buttons to convey, uh, you know, uh, I think that would be really helpful. Okay, I'm assuming that everyone has a picture. If not, you can always, if something comes to your mind, we can go back to that. So yeah, we'll circle back to this in the end. Yeah. Okay. Now I want you to engage a little with me. When you look at this, what do you think of? Feel free to add things in the comments, or just unmute yourself and say it out loud. Again, no correct answers, no wrong answers. What comes to your mind when you look at this? No one has any thoughts? What is this?
A cow.
A cow, okay. So,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I think missing landscape came to my mind.
Okay, a missing landscape, a cow floating in white space, okay. Uh, what do you think the cow means? Okay, what does a cow mean to you?
For me,
Uh-huh.
ah, I
This specific
Yeah.
variation of cow with black and white. It
Yeah,
represents
sure.
milk for me.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So
Or ground
dairy.
meat.
So dairy products, okay, that's one. You think of food, that's another.
Yeah,
Say you come from India, a lot of people worship the cow.
yeah,
So you go to some places, people think of cows as pets. You go back to prehistory. Now, cow could be a very sacred animal, a sacred symbol. The point I'm trying to make here is the everyday objects that you see around you. Now, you see a couple of images here again. If you have thoughts, feel free to say it. If not, just think about what I'm saying just with yourself. Yeah. Uh, we share, we live in a world of symbols. We are surrounded by visuals everywhere. And depending on where you come from, what your cultural background is, what your upbringing is, your caste, your class, your education, uh, each symbol is going to mean a different thing. Now, you might find it as a very innocent or a humorous thing, but this very idea of symbols are used by most storytelling traditions or extremely, you say, extremely autocratic governments to control people. So it is we live in a world, especially right now, with advertisements, social media, and everything that is there around. We have to be more aware of what symbols and what images mean. So I urge you, the next time you walk around or you look at things on social media, to pause and think what is the meaning that you are inferring from something that you see. Yeah. So this is called the scopic regime. There is something that is almost tried to be universalized. Say if you look at the skull on the side, I think almost most people will relate to it being something dangerous, right? You see a ladder, now you can sort of have some shared meaning of what this image or symbol means. Uh, so when you think about formal elements of storytelling, there are a few important aspects. Again, this is not a standard version. It can keep changing, but this is something that I sort of narrowed down on. I believe that narrative is really important. Thinking about your audience is really important. The characters, the setting where it all happens, and the emotions. Now, there's this one example that I often like to quote. When you make tea, you use milk, you use water, you use, I don't know, sugar or cardamom and all these things. But only if it is made in the right way can you taste it as tea. If you put just sugar and tea and milk into your mouth, and even if it's the right combination, it doesn't really work as tea, right? This concept is called gestalt. So how do you use different elements to tell a powerful story? uh, let's look at some examples of how powerful stories are made. Now this is in context to say maybe paintings or your social media posts, or maybe even cinema for that example. There are different ways in which you can create compelling visuals. Let's look at some examples. Yeah. uh, what's happening here? like 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 you clearly know what is important in this scene. You clearly know what is it that you want to what is it that is being highlighted in this scene. So there is a play of contrast and symmetry that's used to tell a compelling story here. What about in this case? The negative space in the image or in the composition adds to the effect of the overall story that you're trying to tell here. say for an example, in this example, right? Like emphasis is used, where the character is really put in the foreground. Uh, Symmetry, another means of sort of directing the vision of your audience into a particular point. Again, color is also something that's used in order to convey different emotions. So depending on say the first scene, if the first scene was set in a bright yellow tone, it wouldn't really capture the urgency or the almost this tension that the scene has. Now, I just wanted to show you a few examples. I'm sure you consume much more visuals, and as you look at visuals, I want you to think about them not just from an innocent, direct point, but I want you to think about them through these different formal elements. Uh, any thoughts, any questions on the formal elements? No? Okay. So let's move on to the next important aspect, framing and perspective. Now, what do you see here? Can a few people give me a few responses on what do you see here? What is this image conveying? What is the story that you see here? Again, no right, wrong answers. No one?
I would jump in if there
Mhm.
is no, yeah. I guess it's a sculpture. It could be like it appears like a philosopher, I would say.
Mhm.
And he appears also thoughtful.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yeah, he
Okay.
doesn't seem happy.
Okay. Okay. A philosopher deep in thought,
Mhm.
a sculpture. Okay.
Mhm.
So these are the information that you're getting from the image that you're seeing right now. Remember to hold on to this. Anyone else has any other thoughts?
I would say
Anything else?
of history and culture.
History and culture. Okay. Okay.
I mean, this study is obviously found during the excavation, so I would say
Mm-hmm.
a discovery of some cultural and historical stuff, or rebirth of the.
Okay. Okay. Fair. Yeah. Completely agree. Any other thoughts? Okay. If the
Just for
Mohammed?
you, sorry, just
No,
for
no,
your
please go on.
information, there are also like some comments in the chat. I don't know if
Oh,
you can see it, but
sorry.
just for information.
I am using my friend's laptop, which is set by default to German, and my Deutsch is not so good. So I'm really struggling with the Windows thing. Okay, new Renaissance, maybe the end of an era, probably a fallen statue, rebirth of art and history. Uh, what Titanic? Okay, I think I'm reading previous one. Okay, that's all good. Uh, Now pay attention to the text that's written below. Yeah, what is included, what is left out, and that is how narratives are shaped. Because we don't just see things, we interpret them. So from what information is given to us, we sort of try to build a story. Now, what do you think this image is about?
Um, I would say like now it's like a fallen stature,
Mm-hmm.
but on purpose or maybe on protest or something, because we can also see like the shoes and the legs of other people around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain kind of defiance on this person, and you see it's a protest. But again, this image in itself still does not completely give you the truth of what is happening here. Now, it leaves you a lot of ambiguity and a lot of scope in guessing what this potentially could be, right? And each frame, as I'm showing it to you, think about news, think about every single thing that's given to you. To put things into context, you're right, it's part of a protest. It was part of the Black Lives Matter protest, where a lot of sculptures were torn down and in an act of reclamation. And this, now having the final image, I think really puts a lot of things into the picture, right? So when you tell stories, it is very, very important from what point you're telling the story and how much you include in the story. Sorry. Uh, someone saying something? Okay. Cool. Now, why this aspect is really important is because most news and most reporting, and when you talk about democracy and your rights or your identity, these factors become really, really important. How do you talk about things from a place of reclamation, right? How do you build narratives that are powerful, that can sort of sustain itself in the world that we live in right now? Now, this is how these are two contrasting reports of the same incident. Now you see the same images on in both the places, but the agenda that the ones who wanted to say, like in the first case, you see how the entire protest and this dismantling and sort of tossing these sculptures into the water was called as a lawless and reckless act. See how the text is emphasized. See what is the first thing that you see in the first newspaper article. Now, on the other side, in the second image, it clearly highlights the march for change. So it's a very important thing to pay attention to. Now, design principles. Now, if you think about design principles, how that is used here, see how hierarchy is used. There's certain text that is more important than the other. See how in the first image, you not just have the toppling down of the statue, but also the statue standing proudly on the pedestal as well. So when you build stories and when you tell stories, it is important for you to think about all these aspects. And especially since you all want to create digital media stories, your story, once it's put out there, is open to the world. It's open for interpretation. So it's really important that you as a storyteller, so that is about that. Now, what makes a story powerful? I believe it has to be clear, it has to be emotional and structured. So now I want to just take you and sort of show you a few examples of different storytelling traditions from across the world. But before that, does anyone have any questions, any thoughts, any musings, or can I proceed? I'll count till 5 and then proceed. Okay, I'm going to proceed then. So, uh, so stories are extremely important. I think one of the constant things that has existed in human evolution is telling stories. Since the prehistoric times until now, the tools may have changed. So that is why the tools always take a secondary position. The priority is, what is your story? What do you want to say? That is that is something that takes precedence over the form. Now let's look at a few examples. And in the previous example, if you see on the left, this is from a cave in France, if I'm not wrong. And if you see it really close, uh, this is also something that majorly inspired animation as well. Like if you look at it, when you're inside a cave, it's pitch dark. So you have to use fire to really move around to see it. And the cave walls were always uneven. So when you would move the fire around, you would almost have this illusion of animals running. Now, we don't exactly know why they did a lot of things in the past. Like, for example, this cave painting from Argentina, right? Now, there is a collective story that is being told here. Now, we don't know what it is. There are speculations. People think this is, almost like people leaving graffiti. Some people think it was part of a ritual. Uh, uh, there are multiple interpretations of what this particular image could mean. Before I proceed to the next image, any thoughts that you have? How would you read this? What do you think this is about? Or what does this make you feel?
It's like some people are calling for help.
Okay, people calling for help. Yeah. Okay. See something in the chat. Anxious. Okay. Okay. Uh, unity. Now, do you see the difference in these two responses? For someone, it felt as an anxious image, and someone said it's unity. And this is exactly what I mean about scopic regime and how images can mean different things to different people. Now, when we have these differences, how do we talk to each other, right? So these are for me as a storyteller, these are the points that are extremely important. And these are the points of conversations that also become important. Now let's look at another image. Does anyone know what this image is? Any idea? Again, no correct and wrong answers. Feel free to space. Okay, that's partially correct. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think it's kind of art, like, I don't know, some carpets are like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Or
Ancient cultures,
yeah,
carpet, a city, a village. Yes. Uh, so this is a landscape. Yeah. Yeah. Mosaic. I think all of you are correct in many ways. Because so this is a painting tradition which is created by the Aboriginals in Australia. Now, what is important to understand is that different cultures over time created art and told stories for different purposes. Now, what you see here in the Aboriginal community, they passed on ancestral knowledge. Now, not just the ancestral knowledge is not just in terms of medicines or say healing techniques or oral stories or myths from their families, but also details about the landscape. Now, where could you find water? Say, so they communicated which area is dangerous, which area is a sacred part, or what is the path to reach this particular mountain. All these geographical details and historic details were all codified in paintings. Now you see how this is different from the first image, right? Like, different traditions over time have used art and storytelling traditions in very, very myriad ways. Now let's look at another example. Now this is a miniature painting from India, from the Mughal period. Uh, Now, definitely when they had the war, it probably did not look this way. I'm sure people did not dress up this gracefully and had like a fight in this sort of composition. But this is a story told by those in power. So they won the war and they wanted to immortalize the war. Like right now, as soon as someone climbs the Mount Everest, they would take a picture on the top of the summit, right? So this is very similar to that. So do you see the difference between this and the previous image? The previous image was about a larger community. Now here, it's about a smaller group of rulers who want to immortalize their story. So now this is another approach that storytelling tradition has taken. Now this is another painting from France, if I'm not wrong, early 1800s maybe. Uh, Now this, like, think of a time like right now we have journalism, we have uh, digital media, so anyone can tell a story. And say if I share something from here, it can reach the very end of I don't know, someone living in Thailand can instantly see what my thoughts or what visuals that are in front of me. But back then that was not the case. When something large would happen, how would you convey to a larger audience? Now, this artist created this huge painting. So this was based on like a catastrophe that happened in the ocean when there was a shipwreck, and then over 150 people were just left on a makeshift raft. Now, this artist took this theme, it almost took like a journalistic responsibility to convey the event and created this large scale painting. Now, this is no different than photography. Now, this is an image from China, and you see how powerful this photo is. The power that this image holds of resistance. Now, in many ways, the previous painting serves a similar purpose. Now, as we come to the time where we live in right now, art and social, the digital media, digital media storytelling has really taken numerous forms. Now, look at this particular installation in an urban setting. It's a very powerful, evocative, and a very simple. Uh, uh, it's just a rectangular frame with some text in it. Yet it makes you understand the importance of what is being conveyed here. Uh, and then it comes to social media. We are bombarded with so many visuals on a daily basis. This is so much that comes to us. But even in that time, how do you create and tell something that's compelling? You saw, now I gave you examples of 5 different storytelling traditions, each one using a very, very different technique. Yet, what is most important, and before we move into the activity, I just want to talk about this particular, these particular 2 paintings. Now, both these paintings deal with the same subject. I'm sorry if it's a little too graphic, uh, but this is the painting on top is by Caravaggio and the painting below is by Artemisia Gentileschi. But can you tell me what the difference between these 2 paintings are?
In the top one, the let's say the one who is committing the murder
Mm-hmm.
seems like to be um influenced by someone else,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the one below, it seems like a cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good observation. Yes. Anything else? Now, what if the point that Sammy said is precisely, I think, one of the very key points here. Now, the painting on the top is painted by Caravaggio. Now, Caravaggio is a man. Yeah. The painting below is painted by a woman, Artemisia. And see how subjects are dealt with depending on who is telling the story. In the first image, she is almost hesitatingly committing this crime, and yet she is presented as this very almost clean, pure. Her, look at her clothes, look at her face. There is a certain she's not tainted by the crime that she's committing still. There's a certain way in which she has been visualized here. And the woman in the back is almost compelling her to do it. But in the second image, both the women are working together to murder this person. So, I mean, this without context, probably it seems odd, but this is based on a very famous myth where Judith slays Holofernes. I mean, you can look up more on these paintings. I will share the slide deck with you along with some links as well at the end. But what I want to say is it's really important. Uh, the identity plays a very crucial aspect in how stories get to be told. Who tells stories? So it's really important to also see where do you see yourself in the media? Where do people who look like you, who talk like you, who come from places that you come from, how are they represented in media? Now, I may have given you a lot of questions and a lot of things to think about, uh, but I feel it's extremely important that when you consume stories, you don't just consume them very innocently, because we don't live in an innocent world. And since this is these workshops are geared to almost prep you in telling stories, telling your own stories, and instilling, say, the democratic values uh, in in uh, in how you incorporate that into media. I think it's very important that you think about storytelling in a very much more complex and much more nuanced way. Uh, I may have spoken quite a bit, but if you have any doubts or anything, I mean, you can ask me now, but you can also reach out to me later. I'm happy to have further discussions. We can just sit and look at more images and more media as well. But that's what I had for presentation. Uh, if you would like to take a small 5-minute break, you can do that, and maybe then we can jump into the activity post that. Does that sound good? Unless anyone has a doubt or a question, uh, I'm happy to answer or just talk with you about it, because I am also learning. I'm just sharing whatever little that I have learned over the years.
Maybe just like a little feedback for you too. I found like both presentations really, really good and really, really clear with the ideas and pictures you were choosing. So thanks to you.
Thank you so much, Anna. So we take a small 5-minute break. Does
Yeah,
that
that would be
work?
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back. Do you all have access? I mean, I think it was communicated like to just create a free Canva account. Do you all have access to Canva account? Yeah, I'm assuming yes. Okay. 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 Cool. Cool. I'll see you in 5 then. Yeah. No. I didn't.
Sure.
Yeah,
I didn't look at time.
I didn't keep a track.
I did too.
But I have shared the entire slide deck here in the Zoom
Yeah, I received
chat.
it. Yeah.
And at the same time, I've also shared another smaller doc. I mean, both of them have both of it. But just in case, but Maybe I should wait for others to be back.
Yeah,
Are you
we have
all,
only 18 right now.
are
It
you,
was 21 actually, but I'm not sure about that.
sorry?
It was 21 before the break,
Ah,
I guess. So
yeah,
we could
I
wait a
see.
couple of minutes to, yeah.
Yeah, we can wait. Let me just share my screen. I'm learning some new German words in the process. I'm translating the keywords here. Okay. Is the screen visible again?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So,
Just a quick coordination before you start.
Mhm.
To Annika, we have talked that like both Germany and Belgium, we're going to have the implementation part with you with our mentors. Then in the end, before 10 minutes before 18, we're gonna separate the rooms as Germany and Belgium to talk about the homeworks. Just a quick, yeah. It's just a quick info about what are we going to do in the rest of the session today. Yep.
So
And
wait,
I'm giving board over to you.
do we split into breakout rooms
Uh,
right now?
No, not right now. We're gonna have the implementation with you, Belgium and Germany.
Uh-huh.
But in the last 10 minutes, we're gonna separate the rooms to talk about the homeworks.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So can I begin now? Yeah? Okay. So I have a very, very simple task for you today. Again, I would urge you not to think much about it beyond a point. Sort of let your initial impulses drive you into working on it. You can always refine it. Call it your story, your lens. Yeah, not the best title. But I believe that every picture holds a story. So the task is really simple. What I want you to do is choose one image from your phone gallery, or you can take a new one of an object that is around you, wherever you are right now. Yeah. And then I want you to think about, what does this image mean to you? And then you can sort of separate it into different, I don't know, you can pick a memory, you can pick an emotion, you can pick an object or a place, anything of your choice. I will show you an example in a bit, but I just wanted to introduce to you what this is about. So we will create a Instagram carousel post, like a post of 5 images. So you tell your story in 5 different posts. Now I have created a mock-up and a sort of structure in which you could follow. Now feel free to break the structure and tell it the way that you want it. But I sort of imagine, say, the first slide being an introduction to the context, setting the hook. The second one being a set of collages. The third one, like a key realization. And fourth one, something of a introspection, and finally reflection. Let me just show you an example. This is something that I put together from my gallery. Now, this is the first post. I picked up a shoe, an old shoe. So first post, it sort of says, I almost threw them away, almost. They've been with me for years, beaten, scarf torn, but it's still mine. The second post is a picture collage, which sort of builds out the story world of your first image. Here I have sort of used all the different places that I have been to, I mean, those are not really my shoes. I sort of found them online. But the idea was I wanted to do something with shoes. Say in the third image, it's like a summation of what the shoes mean to me. Yeah. And say in the next one, there's like a deeper question about, I don't know, is there a place where all shoes, meet, and what do they talk about? And finally, with the final post, you put a question onto your audience. Now, this technique can be used for any kind of story. Say it's a shoe this time, but say it could be a camera, right? My grandfather gave me his old camera. In the second slide, you sort of say, uh, it has been with me for over 10 years. In the third one, you say, the camera has become an extension of me. And say in the fourth one, you're like, I sometimes wonder if my camera has a soul. And say fifth one, you sort of say, what are your memories with your camera? So is the prompt simple? Do you get the idea? And we will use Canva to create the, I can sort of just, are you all familiar with Canva? Have you all used Canva, or do you want me to sort of show you the interface of Canva as well? But first, maybe just tell me if the prompt is clear. Anyone with any doubts about the prompt? So as you create these, you can use these things, you can keep these things in mind, right? That's why I sent you the slide deck as well, so that you can access it and sort of see. Now, what do you want to play with? Do you want to play with shapes? Do you want to play with different patterns? Do you want to use hierarchy, have some things more important than the other? Uh, and again, you don't need to finish the whole thing. You can at least start thinking about it. You can complete it in your own time, but I would urge you for the next few minutes to, however, start working on it. I didn't use Canva before. Okay, I can quickly just show you like the basics of Canva.
Maybe you can treat it like a guided project as
Yeah,
you
I can do that.
work on it, you just explain.
I can do that, yeah. Let me, oh, wait. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So feel free to choose any dimension that you want. I sort of wanted to use this is the German version of this. Hmm. Sorry, small. Uh, just give me a second. But whoever's, maybe just open your Canva account in the meantime. I'm just going to share my screen. And also, if anyone has any doubts about the prompt, please feel free to ask me. Is the prompt clear for all of you? Okay, that's good.
Maybe in the meantime, I can show the interface of Canva quickly.
You can do that. Yeah.
Sure.
I actually found it. Okay. But yeah, you
You
can
got
also
it? If you got it, we can.
I
Maybe
got
that's
it, yeah.
quicker. Yeah.
Okay. No, wait. Canva. That's not the one, sorry. Oh yeah, got it. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's maybe Okay. So this section here is where you can find different, like this is how the interface is going to look like once you select a board. So this here is different elements. Now you can search here for potentially, uh, like you get different options. Say you can choose from graphics to photos to frames. Now say, let me pick, I don't know, this camera. Yeah, this is where I get images and all elements. This is the part where you add text. I mean, then so you can have different uh, font options which are below. I would urge you to sort of explore and play around with it. And I believe the next session we have next week is also going to be about content creation, where they will be using more of the tools as well, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, cool. Uh, so yeah, I think as of now you would just require, I think, just these two sections, the elements and text. Just play around with this, and I believe the other things you can sort of look at
Hmm.
maybe with.
I can maybe quickly
Please go ahead.
share some of my experience with the tool.
Yeah, please.
Um, so generally you can also use some templates. This is like the home interface of Canva after you signed up and made your profile. It has some predefined templates that you can use. You can also start a new design from scratch, custom sizes, or custom sizes of your canvas, or predefined templates like for presentations, for you can use whiteboards to, for example, for your brainstormings as a team. Simultaneously, you can use with your teammates. You can create documents, even simple video edits, not too professional, but um, got some tools. And as you can see, there are uh, template sizes here for Instagram story, 1080 to 9020 pixels, videos, 1920 by 1080. We got in social media section different sizes of Instagram, for example, post, story, Facebook post, and etc. Um, and as you use the filters, filter your search, or search specific topics, it will suggest you some pre-designed templates. The ones with the crown or pro icon are part of the subscription. You can simply subscribe in Canva and get access to uh, basically all of the uh, elements and assets it has. But with the free program, you can feel free to use um, uh, everything without the crown icon, and it's mostly um, copyright free assets. Uh, for example, let's say you like this design, You can simply open it. You can simply click and drag items. You can resize them. As you select each item, you have different adjustment options. Like, for example, for a text box, you can select from among a ton of fonts. Some of them have regular, bold, or black, or maybe even light versions like Open Sans with different weights depending on your design style. You can adjust size here, font size. You can change the color, uh, like solid colors, or you can from here choose from the color wheel, or uh, type the exact code of the color code you want. Change the hue here, saturation and contrast, and come up with a specific uh, color for your design. Some of the AI tools of the program, for example, we have a background here, and it automatically extracts the main colors of that picture. So you can use, for example, for harmony, or don't have to manually adjust the colors to your design. Also here you got the pick a color. You can select it and choose color from anywhere on your campus. Let's say you wanna choose a color from this photo. But
Sammy,
yeah.
just a small thought.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we sort of just introduce them to just the activity and they sort of work on it.
Yeah,
And maybe in the
that's a
feedback
good
part,
idea.
like
So
that,
yeah,
because
I
this could
will
be
I won't go
overwhelming.
to into details. So as V explains, you got elements,
Yeah, maybe can I?
shapes, graphics, yeah, and you can access to the stock of photos. You can search for photos. As I said, the ones without crown icon are feel free to use. The ones with crown icon, you need the subscription. Also video with different lengths or different scenarios. Same, you can search for topics and it will filter the asset database for you, audios, and etc. Feel free to explore it. You can upload elements to it, your own visuals or photos or elements, and that's basically it. You can
Yeah,
also, in the middle of your design, choose a new template. So it's basically gives you a lot of options and freedom.
yeah. So thank you, Sammy. I think maybe if they have more doubts, we can,
Yeah.
in sort of share that. But the idea with, say, the activity that I had is I didn't want to overwhelm you and sort of really want you to focus on how to tell stories than using the tools, because in the coming week and after that you can always refine and explore on your own, and you can get a sense of how to use this interface. But for the activity right now, just maybe play around with images and text. Don't but uh, think about these 5 aspects that I told you. like think about building a story, a narrative that is your story. How do you tell your own story? Because tools can be overwhelming, and it's always a better idea to know what you want to say before using any tools. Uh, so maybe for the activity now, if you could maybe start create a few free account and maybe create 5 slides and just use either a memory, an emotion, or an object, and just start creating. Yeah, and if you have any doubts, reach out to us and we can tell you more. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So just maybe just start creating, and if you need anything, just reach out to us. I hope the prompt is clear to everyone. What needs to be done. I'm taking that as a yes.
I think it's clear, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to? I have shared the slide deck with you in the chats,
Yeah.
so you can open it in your own systems and sort of see them. Sort of use this page if for inspiration if required. If not, just create 5 slides with, even if you have keywords, that will also do. But just start off thinking about how to tell a story about a particular thing. Okay, cool.
I think in this part we can divide into breakout rooms as Belgium and Germany.
I
So
mean, either
because
way, yeah.
we have 20 minutes
Mhm.
left. If that's okay for Annika, if I get your permission to.
I think, I'm sorry, it's so weird with the sun here. I think we only have one Boltzmann left, so it doesn't make too much sense in my opinion. And also, since V has created the activity, maybe it's nice to have.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we can continue so on, yeah.
Okay.
And I shared the deck with you so that you can even work on this in your free time. You can sort of start right now, even if you just want to think about. I would really urge you to think about how to tell stories, how to tell your story. Uh, we can look at tools later. Tools are always secondary. The most important thing is, what do you want to say? How do you want to say it? How do you say it in a way that's most impactful? Because we live in the time of social media where it's like swipe, 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 it just goes away. So really think about what your voice is. Also, if you have any ideas and you have any prompts, any visuals, and you want to share it, you can also do that. We can use this time and the space to brainstorm together too, if that is something that would help you.
I would like to ask you something. If it's okay by your side, I would like to ask about like on your example, we have the shoes and the story in the following. Could you maybe show us how did you use these key design principles and
Yeah,
also the formal elements of storytelling? So I think
I can do that. Yeah.
after the session we can all do this by
Mhm.
ourselves, but I would
Mhm.
like to
Yeah.
hear your story on your
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
on your storytelling. Yeah.
So say with the very first image, if you look at it, I played around one with a lot of white space. If you see with majority of say the 4 slides that you see here, I really wanted to emphasize on the object, the shoe. So there's a lot of white space that I've used in most of the design here. And then I've played with hierarchy. Now, what is hierarchy? Where does the eye go first? What do you want to see first? Now, say in the first slide, I almost threw them away and the shoe is almost in the same starker, darker tone. So that really comes to my eyes first. And then almost is still big enough because it's almost, I wanted to create the sense of like panic, but yet it being the second thing that you see. And then there is text, which you see, which is in the bottom, which you see towards the very end. Now, this gives you more details into the hook. But here, the emotional hook for me, how I went ahead with it, uh, was the shoe and the text and the negative space that's used around it. Yeah. In the second image, I think in terms of the images that I picked, I mostly picked images that have a certain kind of green predominantly in it. So it's mostly nature visual. So there is a certain kind of uh, harmony that you can sort of feel because of the colors being similar. Yeah. And then I think I just played around. I mean, I didn't, this is probably not the best design that I've made as well. I put it, I put it together really fast, but I wanted to pick an object and tell a story really fast without thinking about it. Uh, and say with the very end, in the last post, I put the text in the center because I wanted to leave the audience with that. And if you see, there is a certain movement as well, because if you think about carousel posts on Instagram, you swipe them towards the right. Now, there needs to be a certain rhythm that moves with it as well. Uh, so yeah, I think that is what I sort of played around with. Mostly white space, hierarchy. Uh, yeah, it's mostly white space, hierarchy, and harmony. Yeah, like you can sort of see here, like uh, how each different design principle brings out a well, this is not the one with the tech, but you have the other tech as well with the examples of the cinema screenshots and maybe just watch a TV show today or watch a movie today and pay attention to these things. Maybe jot them down as you do it because you need to see. You need to see and consume as much as you can mindfully to create stories that are compelling. Uh, yeah, I hope that was helpful. Does anyone have have an object? Has anyone started working? Do you want to share what you're doing? And like I said, you can always feel free to reach out on WhatsApp, even post a session. If you have created something, feel free to share them with me. I would love to sit and make time and discuss with you on about it. Like so don't feel don't feel the pressure to finish it right now, right away. You can always reach out to me.